welcome in everyone to the Fantasy Farm Sports Spa, apparently. Did you hear that music? I felt like I was waiting for a back rub or something. That was odd. I got to get that background music changed. So do you like that background music or no?
Hey, sounds good to me. And any good intro, get the juices flowing, get the brain waves thinking before we start the pod. It was a good 30 seconds to myself. So you know what, we can keep it around.
I feel like I was waiting for I was in line for Japanese sushi or something. I don't know. I like the sushi. The music's always a little wonky. So was that. That caught me off guard. All right. We're here. I'm Jack Stache. We've got Liam Sagz, Liam Sagarian. Guys, follow him on Twitter. He works for PSN's Philadelphia Sports Network. Everything Philadelphia sports. He knows, lives, eats, and breathes. How are you feeling today, Liam?
Jack, I'm doing great. The title defense starts tonight. Super Bowl 59 champions. Now we're the hunted. That's just what we want to be. I get married in 9 freaking days, brother. It's a great time. It's a great
9
time.
days. My God, congratulations. I didn't think I'd see you, but apparently, you got a fantastic wife headed your way. She's letting you hang out with the boys.
She's not very happy about it, but hey, we're here. We're here. This is the last one until September, so we'll deal.
All right. So, let's talk about the games tonight. That's where we should get started, right? Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles in their title defense. Arguably head to toe, offense to defense, arguably the best team in the league. Talk.
Well, here we are. We're back. We're one of the only teams in the league where I think you go up and down the roster and, the weak points that you assess unit by unit. There's no real glaring holes, right? They're a Super Bowl team who returned a lot of starters, not all of them, but 10 of 11 starters on offense. And, the back 7 of their defense is basically all the same. They lost some guys on the defensive line. That might be where you might consider them to be the weakest unit, and it's still not a glaring hole, right? So the Eagles are in great shape heading into a title defense season. They have a new offensive coordinator, but it's been an offensive coordinator, or his name is Kevin Patullo. He's been in the Sirianni and Eagles system since Sirianni took over. Now he's going, in his 5th year. So 4 years ago, Patullo's been here the whole time. He understands what we want to do, and I'm sure he'll put his own wrinkles into it. I'm not concerned about that. We still have Vic Fangio, of course, and a defense that's young and ready to bloom. But really what's interesting is, we're heading into a division where, Jack, I don't know if you remember this, that they say it a few times a year, but being an NFC East fan, I remember, and I know it, is that there have not been a back-to-back division winner in the NFC East in 21 years now, since 2004. There has not been back-to-back division winners in the NFC East. Not even kidding. So if this is the year, barring injury, if this isn't the year for the Eagles to now repeat division winner, I have no idea. It's probably never ever going to happen. So
those are the McNabb years, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yes, it would have been in the height of McNabb making NFC Championship game and Super Bowl and NFC Championship games on top of that. And ever since then, it's been the Giants. Washington, I think, has probably only won the division maybe 3 times since then. But the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Eagles, and Washington at sprinkle of times have split and not won the division consecutively for 20 years now. For 20 freaking years.
You can argue it's one of the toughest divisions in football. I would walk away from that a little bit. I don't think it's the toughest division in football, especially this year. I'm firmly with the AFC West just because now Pete Carroll's there. So you could sit there and you go, those Giants. I mean, we know that they're not going to be good. They can, the defense is stacked because they'll be on the field all the time, but we don't really believe that the Giants have enough to get anywhere or go anywhere, right?
No, but the Giants can absolutely play spoiler to a couple games this year simply because they might have the best defensive line in the NFL. Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau and now Abdul Carter. I mean, that is a fierce unit that they have up front on that defensive line. I think they can absolutely ruin some games, especially against teams with poor to mediocre offensive lines.
And maybe Russell Wilson. I don't know. He's an odd fellow. That's the most positive thing I could say about Russ. I think he's a little odd, right?
Have you ever seen somebody play themselves out of Hall of Fame candidacy? once over the course of 8 to 10 years, once you establish yourself in a certain level of greatness, and Russ obviously has won a Super Bowl, he made it back to another one. If Pete Carroll calls the right play, I know the eyes are on him when he throws that ball, but if Pete Carroll calls the right play, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champ, right? So,
right.
8 to 9 years into his career, where he had a couple seasons where it was like the let Russ cook, and he would play really great for 9 weeks in the year, get himself into MVP candidacy in those individual seasons. There was a time where Russell Wilson was on track to probably be a first to third ballot Hall of Famer with relative ease. And I think due to maybe his last year in Seattle, what happened in Denver, what happened in Pittsburgh, now he's on his fourth team. He's on his fourth team, and he's like a scrap pile quarterback. I think he's played himself out of the Hall of Fame.
No, because here's the thing. The problem was, the worst thing that happened to Russell Wilson was the fans. The let Russ cook. He wasn't that's like saying, I know it doesn't have quite the same rhyme, but that's like a let Eli cook. We saw what Eli Manning would do when you let him throw the ball a lot.
You don't got to fight with me about Eli Manning. That guy is not a Hall of Famer, and you know what? All the guys who are coming in these future draft class, it just ensures me that Eli Manning is not going to sniff the Hall of Fame for a long time, and he shouldn't ever. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, but he's going to get in because
he's going to get in eventually because of his name. But he's not a Hall of Fame.
The 2 Super Bowls against Tom. That's why. And he's done something. He did not play the whole regular season, but he decided once he got into the wild card that he was going to go into Lambeau, knock that team off, then go into another place. Now, he won every game on the road as a quarterback, then went to the Super Bowl and won that game. So Eli's getting in. Russell Wilson will get in. The whole let him do everything. Why? It never worked in college. He was a run-first quarterback that got things done differently. He was going to throw 30 touchdowns, 8 to 9 interceptions. He play Houdini some games, get out of tackles that you thought he was going to stay in. And that was Russell Wilson. This whole let him throw 40 times a game. Why? He's not the guy.
Well, I know you said the fans did it to him, but the organization doesn't have to acquiesce to what the fans want, especially an organization that claims to be as well run as the Seattle Seahawks, who John Schneider, of course, just got another extension. So do you think that was then on the offensive coordinator at the time, after they moved off of whatever the hell his name was, who was obviously a run first, more predicated style? I can't remember his name. Was it Shane Waldron? That might be it. Or he might have been after. I'm not sure. But you know who that offensive coordinator was under the let Russ cook days, right? And this is going to be a great segue, by the way.
Do not.
It was Marty Schottenheimer, your new Dallas Cowboys head coach. Someone you believe in. Someone you think might have cut out for it.
Wait, it was Brian Schottenheimer?
Letting Russ cook. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But this is a great time to talk about the Cowboys, especially with NFL preseason buzz. We can stay in the NFC East too. This is really, 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 really going well. The Micah Parsons situation is fascinating.
So hold on, let me pause for a minute. Let me stick with the Russ Wilson situation because I do want to talk about. Seattle was a great run organization. They had one problem: the mouthpiece of the team was Richard Sherman. The defense and the swagger, that was the team. The Legion of Boom. That was the team, right? Russ was in the background. And any team throughout history where their defense has always been louder than their offense never really lasted long. You can talk about the Ravens. You can talk about those 85 Bears. They were defensive led and they were emotionally led, and we were going to drag you out and drop kick you in an alleyway led. But they don't last very long, and Russ rode that wave. He's always been. You can argue that Kirk Cousins could have won a Super Bowl with that team. As odd and weird as he is, that defense was that team. As insane as that team was, like offensively, they were good. You had Marshawn Lynch, which, by the way, didn't he feel like a defensive player? He didn't even feel like he played for the offense. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'm going to hang out with Sherm tonight." Like it was just he was part of the defense. Nobody was with Russ, and I just think that team. What did they have 5 shutouts that season? 4 or 5 shutouts. They walked into Giants Stadium and didn't let the Giants get past midfield. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, you're not a Hall of Fame quarterback on that Giants team.
Well, but he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Those years, and by the way, Russell Wilson has, and I know it's not super impressive because they were later on in his career, but he still had a couple good ones. Russell Wilson has a winning record against Peyton Manning.
In the Super Bowl, too.
Yeah. No, I mean, so Russell Wilson, if we're going to talk about, hey, Eli, he's going to go in because of his 2 wins against Tom. Well, that's cool, man. By the way, Peyton Manning's going to go into the Hall of Fame, and Peyton Manning's a great quarterback. His Super Bowl wins, not outstanding. Not outstanding.
No, but he's also a 5-time MVP.
He's like, hey, guys, you know how awesome I am? I beat Rex Grossman in the last game of the year. Oh, my God. You can't even put that on your resume.
No, but he is a 5-time MVP.
So. I get that, but, the Micah Parsons situation, Jerry's got wrong. But go ahead, talk on it for a second.
I just obviously, I'm eating it up. I'm eating all that up. I'm eating all the McLaurin situation up. But the Micah one is just unbelievably fascinating because you had the chance to sign him for $32 million last summer, and now we're past year 4. If he wasn't a first-round pick, he'd be a free agent right now. I'm sure he'd be franchise tagged, but he would have been a free agent or franchise tag at this point. And now it's like the Cowboys are kind of just trying to see how far his patience and his ego can stretch, because he is obviously he posted the long document on Twitter that called out Steven, or said specifically that he sent his trade request to Stephen Jones by name. Now he's commenting on Aaron Donald's Instagram post after Aaron Donald said he would unretire if Micah came to the Rams, which that would be an amazing thing to think about. But it just seems unbelievable that somebody who is as talented as Micah, and has he's lived up to almost every single billing that he possibly could have, aside from a few consistency issues, I guess here and there. But he is on his way to being a Hall of Famer, and he's only been in the league for 4 years, and he is worth every penny that the Cowboys can offer and more, because he is part of what is keeping them box office. Yes, they get talked about at the forefront of every show, no matter if they're 17-0 or 0-17. And yeah, Jerry has his place in that. Want to know why Jerry has his place in that? Because of things like this. This is why they lead the shows. It's nothing to actually do with the Cowboys' on-field football product these days. It's what kind of media circus can be created by Jerry that then we also have to talk about their ensuing record. So, one of the people that's keeping Cowboys fans from actually revolting against the team is Micah Parsons. And you're playing with this food, and CeeDee Lamb's not happy about it, and you played with Dak's food twice. Actually, the first time you paid Dak was because he broke his leg.
Yeah.
The first time you paid Dak was because he broke his leg. Dak went off the field crying, not knowing if you were going to pay him, because you should have paid him the summer before. And he was like, "Oh my God, my guarantees, I don't have any." That's why these players hold out. That's why these players hold in. There's 100% injury rate in this sport, and when you're seriously injured and you're really injured, you're really, really injured, right? Dak Prescott literally hasn't had. Dak Prescott hasn't had the same mobility that he had since he broke his ankle. And when he broke his ankle, he was never assured of getting that next contract from the Cowboys. Good on them for finally doing it. They probably had to, just to save face a little bit. You don't want to do that with a generational talent like Micah Parsons. So I just have no idea what's going on. Jerry Jones might be as senile as, some recent presidential candidates. And what are we doing here, Jack? What are we doing here?
Okay, so Jerry Jones brought up the fact that, even if Micah Parsons is here, if he's here, he might not be here. Because as Micah's had injuries over the years. Yeah, what's really interesting about that is the guy who you paid to sit at every podium and deal with your BS after a win and loss, Dak Prescott, has been injured just as much, if not more, than Micah Parsons.
More. Absolutely.
More. Okay, more. I know this because I actually turn on Dallas Cowboys football. Not to watch.
I hate watch them every week.
No, but I love watch them because when Dak wasn't in the game, Micah Parsons was like box office. Dude, brother, he was like watching Mike Tyson knock somebody out. I would literally turn it on when the offense was off the field because who am I getting? I'm getting the backup quarterback and CeeDee Lamb half running routes because he knows it's not his buddy Dak Prescott. I would turn on to watch the defense and just watch Parsons go. And you're like, Jesus, my God, that quarterback better get moving. Micah Parsons could play D-end, linebacker, and safety in the league right now. That's how good he is. He could play 3 positions. And I'm going to say this because I know we remember players of yesteryear, how great they were, and this, that, and the other thing. I'll say it right now. Micah Parsons will be at the end of his career, and he is, from the flashes I've seen, he's better than Lawrence Taylor. I really don't care. He's better than Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor was a great talent who could play one position, who went in at halftime and was blowing lines. That's what he was. That's what he is. That's what he should maybe remembered as. We love Parcells. We love those Giants. We love Lawrence Taylor. Micah Parsons can play 3 positions dominantly. I don't like the way Jerry's been treated. And what he doesn't realize is he thinks he's playing with an idiot. Like Micah Parsons went to Penn State. He's got all the money he'll ever need. He'll just not play. It doesn't matter to him. He wanted to be a Cowboy. He would have taken less to be a Cowboy. He said that publicly. Now he'll take less to go anywhere else. You know what Micah Parsons could do? I'm going to tell you right now, Penn State is going, I have Penn State winning the national title this year. I think they're that good of a team. Ohio State lost all their coaches. Michigan still hasn't recovered from Harbaugh. Texas thinks Arch Manning is Peyton Manning, and he's not yet, and he hasn't played enough games to find out. Penn State's got a real star in the making, Drew Aller. That dude can chuck the ball. He's 6'4", and he's got a cannon on him. But as Micah Parsons, I go, you know what? I'm done in the NFL. I'd like to be a part of this coaching staff. Franklin would put him on in a second, and he'd be thrilled. It's not what he wants to do, but he will not play in Dallas this year. Absolutely not. He's not going to do it. He's done. He's not negotiating. He's done. It's over. So you should be thrilled because he's out of your division. He's not coming to play. Jerry could walk up to him with two. I'll give you the highest guaranteed ever. And Micah will stand there and walk. He's done. He's not playing in Dallas. So enjoy your negotiation. Negotiations work with suckers that need the money. It works with people that cower once you hit their number. And by the way, 99% of the people go, well, yep, you know, he paid me. It doesn't mean you gain more self-respect. In fact, you lose it. You could give me money, but I'd rather respect over money. I don't care how much, like after a certain number, I can buy all the stuff in the diner in the morning. I can go to Longhorn Steakhouse and get the best steak. But you know what? If I walk in and people see me on the TV screen and they laugh at me because of how Jerry Jones treated me the past couple days, what am I going to do? Well, I have the money for the steak. You look foolish. You sound foolish. And in your own household, you're an embarrassment. Micah Parsons is not going to take that contract, whichever contract comes to his doorstep.
Hey man, if everything you say is true right there, that would be a glorious, glorious thing to see him out of the division and quite potentially out of the conference. That would be awesome. I do think inevitably he'll probably end up re-signing at some point once Jerry caves. I don't know what's going to make him cave. I don't know if it's, Micah not playing games. I don't know really what could cause Jerry at this point to kind of, back off. But I'm really, really interested to see how it plays out because I think that it's been so egregiously mishandled. And I think that Micah Parsons deserves every penny that he could have been worth last offseason and then some. And I think he's worth every penny that he's worth currently right now, given the state of the market. And the more guys that you let sign deals, that you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. If Trey Hendrickson signs a deal before Micah, that's another one. You know what I mean? Like Jalen Carter, I know Jalen Carter's an inside tackle. I'm wearing his jersey right now. He's going to sign next year. If you somehow don't have Micah Parsons, I'm sure that he's not going to be a Cowboy if they don't have him signed up by next year. But and whoever trades for him will give him what he's worth. But could you imagine if for some reason the Cowboys just hold their rights to Micah Parsons and like you let the guys next year then like get their contracts first. It would just be unbelievably stupid business.
So here's what I think could happen. And I don't think they're going to give up a lot because they won't have to once it gets to this point. I think Micah's going to miss the first 4 games. I don't. He's not wearing that jersey. I don't think he's going to play the first 4 games. I think a team that has already done Dallas a favor this season. The season hasn't even started. Dallas has gotten a favor. Look, they got a primetime wide receiver in George Pickens from Pittsburgh for nothing, for a cup of coffee. Everybody, well, Tomlin didn't like him. He liked him a little bit. He put up with George's attitude for years, and the attitude finally didn't outweigh the talent. And they went, well, if we can get something. But they got nothing in return for him. They got a cup of coffee for him. That's fine. But I believe it was to further the discussion and quite possibly get into the conversation with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was never going to be an Eagle. I'm very sorry. But Dallas was not going to trade him inside the division. Micah did state that he wanted to go home. And Pittsburgh is very close to Penn State. And I do believe that Pittsburgh might have to, unload a little bit of talent or showcase a little bit of talents, in the early games and maybe a draft pick. And then Jerry's going to go, well, I mean, I can't just have nobody all year and then finally do something. I think that's where we're going to finally get to it because I'm telling you, Micah he's got the cards. What's the worst thing that happens if he doesn't play? Well, I don't get a contract in the NFL. I've already had one.
He'll get another. He'll get another somewhere or another.
He will get another somewhere. I think, as crafty as he doesn't seem, somebody like Andy Reid could come in. Andy Reid likes his Penn State players. Spent a lot of time there in Philadelphia as well. But he always loved his Penn State players. I just think that there's going to be some team that comes in, makes Jerry an offer he can't refuse, and Jerry's going to leave it on the table, and he's going to make one more phone call to Parsons, and Parsons isn't going to answer. He's absolutely done. Like he didn't even sound mad. He didn't even sound mad. He wasn't a girlfriend arguing with you.
No, you're right. He kind of just sounded over it.
He said, I sent the letter to Stephen Jones. He has my letter. And they went, well, what's in the letter? He goes, Stephen will read it, or maybe he won't. But that's that. He goes, I always wanted to be a Cowboy. He gave you a speech that he was leaving. I wanted to be a Cowboy forever. It meant the world to me. They were my favorite team growing up. What does that sound like? I'm done. I'm leaving. I'll be somewhere else. I didn't mean for it to happen this way, and I did the best I could on my end. But I no longer want to lay my body out on the line for this franchise. I mean, it's done.
Well, that would be great. That would be lovely.
Look, I'll take him down to Tampa, too. Him and Baker would get along.
He would look good in the pewter.
He would, right? Move like Levante. I know we love Levante David, but I'll take Mike at this point in their career. All right. So we got an Eagles game tonight. We'll segue into that. Oh, you wanted to segue into something, didn't you? You wanted to segue.
We did segue into the Cowboys. We already segued.
All right. We got Eagles and we have Bengals tonight.
Yes, sir.
Bengals are playing their starters.
They are.
Do you think that's interesting?
Well, the reasoning given is that they want to start faster, right? And we know that the Bengals under Zach Taylor and under Joe Burrow notoriously start slow, have to come on hot late in the year, and a lot of times end up just squeaking into the playoffs because of it when they make the playoffs. When they make the playoffs.
You're right.
And two of the 4 years they haven't. 2 of the 4 years that Burrow's been healthy, through most of the season, they haven't made the playoffs. The other 2, they're in the AFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. So, they know how to win big games, but they put themselves out of position to get to those big games because of the way that they start 2-3s, 1-4s, 1-3s right out of the gate. It's hard to come back from when you only play 17 games. When you're playing baseball, when you're playing basketball and hockey, a little easier when you got, margin for error in the schedule. But you don't have a lot of margin for error in a game like football, especially, when your best players can drop like flies at any given moment. It's just the nature of the beast, and it's just the nature and trends and styles and regression of the mean of the NFL. So if the Bengals, believe that this can help them get into an earlier rhythm, then they should be playing their starters. And if Zach Taylor feels like he's on the hot seat and he's coaching for his job this year, then he should probably be trying to do something different, because they're still not going to have a great defense, but what they can have is an amazing offense like they usually do. And if it's starting out better than it normally does, maybe you can rack up some of those early wins. And I don't know necessarily who they're playing or early to start the season. Probably should have looked at the schedule, but if you can start the season off well, or at least find yourself in a rhythm, and get to where a few games above 500 by the time that you hit your bye, that's what you want to be doing.
And I'll tell you what, you should be a carpenter. You just hit all the nails on the head. That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. They start slow, they get behind, the defense gets beat up, the offense can't outscore the other team. L every single week. They already got a favor this year. They don't have to open up against Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh comes for your throat game one. You don't want overtime games game one. You don't want Pittsburgh game one. Pittsburgh's going to go and they're going to play in New York, and they're going to crush them week one. I don't care about the Justin Fields. None of it matters. None of it matters. Maybe the Jets are better managed. I still believe that they had an opportunity this offseason to hire a better coach in Rex Ryan. They did not want to. That's fine. But his track record is much better than the guy they have there. I'll wait till the midseason to start bashing him. But yeah, that's really why they did it. And Zach Taylor is on the hot seat. He's absolutely, that seat is on fire. No one will start talking about it until maybe midseason when they're 3-3. And then people will start going, well, Zach Taylor, he's on the hot seat. And I really, really believe that if they don't at least make like an AFC title game this year, or win the division at 12-5 and make some noise, I believe Zach Taylor will be fired and replaced with John Gruden.
John Gruden, wow.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's coming. I think it's one of the best kept secrets out there. John already stated that he's coming back to the NFL. He knows which seats he'd like to occupy. And if he got Joe Burrow, let's be honest, John can get that defense fired up enough to play a little bit harder.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's an amazing prediction. I will remember that for if and when it happens.
Write it down. You know what I predicted a couple weeks, 3 months ago? 3 months ago, I predicted ESPN would buy the NFL Network.
Here we are.
I'm better than Phil. I'm the prognosticator.
Here we are, baby.
Here we are, baby. ESPN, they dropped their sports entry. They dropped all their boxing brands and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, wow, that was a lot of money that they had allocated there. I wonder where the rest of that money's going. Dink, dink, dink. And I was like, you know what? They're going to buy the NFL. And they did. They bought the NFL Network. So
the Chargers just announced that Rashawn Slater tore his patellar tendon. He's going to be out for the season.
Defense.
Offensive tackle. Left tackle.
Oh, Jesus. That's not good.
Or right tackle. I'm not sure. One of the tackles. The tackle opposite Joe Alt, and their interior offensive line was poor anyway, so now it's going to be pretty bad again.
Yeah, but they also travel the most miles out of any team.
They do.
Well, we can get rid of the Chargers, ladies and gentlemen. It's been fun having them, but they will not be in the Super Bowl this year.
Tough scenes.
You don't even have to watch. It's over.
Tough scenes.
All right, so Philly, Cincinnati, we hate to talk about it, but Cincinnati wins tonight because they're starting their starters, right? We could do that.
I mean, if we're going to be the type to predict preseason games, then yeah.
I don't want to predict all of them, but I just want to say, like, this one, like, listen, you're playing, it's the Cincinnati Bengals versus, future UPS drivers. Some of them, not all of them.
Well, hey, if the Eagles pull it out, we're definitely looking good for the Super Bowl.
Oh my God, that'd be fantastic. Yeah. What did you do week one? Oh, we beat the Bengals starters. Oh my God, poor Cincinnati. All right, so I love this is one of the things that I'm really interested in. I actually agree with Stephen A. Smith for once in my life. But Shedeur Sanders is going to start for the Browns with the first team offense when he's been practicing with the third team offense against the first team defense when they play, and he'll be without players for which he hasn't played with. So I just, can we just get rid of the franchise?
They could fold. They could definitely fold.
I mean, they don't even like Jerry. Like, here's the thing: Jerry Jones and Haslam, right? They're both terrible, right? I defend Jerry sometimes, but right now I don't want to. They're both terrible owners. Okay, well, at least the Dallas Cowboys have an emblem that people like.
True. Hey, the star means something.
The Browns looks like a helmet that you would wear in prison. It goes with the jumpsuit. Like, doesn't it? It just looks like, oh, you're going to D block. What does that mean? It means you put on a Browns helmet. It gets tougher over there. I mean, what are we doing here? You don't want to give the kid a fair opportunity. I just read, I had suspicions for a while, but I actually just read that it was Stefanski and Andrew Berry that walked into Haslam's office and told them that they could not win with Baker Mayfield. Okay. All right. That's fine. You don't like the kid. You didn't think you could win with him. But you know what happens when you're not only wrong, you're proven wrong in most businesses? Yeah, you get fired.
Yes.
Goodbye. Stefanski, it's been fun. You have been successful. Never, actually, 1 year in the playoffs, you were successful, right? And besides that, you have zero success. And Andrew Berry, I don't know if he used to work for Microsoft or whatever. He's not a real general manager. I don't know where he gets his, accolades from. Not
he
very
worked for the Eagles.
Oh, well, even better.
He gets his accolades from Howie Roseman.
Yeah, well, Howie Roseman knows what he's doing. The Eagles, what did they let him go for? A cup of coffee? Probably. Shedeur Sanders to start. I have a sneaky suspicion that the kid is more prepared than Cleveland is going to help him. I think he's going to look good. I think the rest of the preseason Browns fans are going to be clamoring for Shedeur Sanders, and they will not get him. They will get Kenny Pickett, and after the third and fourth game of Flacco, they'll be screaming for him louder, and eventually he'll come on and he'll be good, but he'll be good because of himself. He won't be good because Cleveland did him any favors.
I hear you, but I think for someone like Shedeur, he's gonna relish the opportunity to start. It doesn't matter the experience that he has with the guys. It doesn't matter where he thinks he may end up on the depth chart. I mean, this is his real chance to go out and do something, right? And I think that he's the type of guy who's probably going to end up going out to do so. So I think he's gonna take the chance. Really seize the opportunity and look at it like a chance to prove himself as a quality quarterback, be it starter, second string, third string, whatnot. There's been so many weird storylines going on with the Browns. There's even the report that they, wouldn't be surprised if they roster all four quarterbacks on the 53. He's had to. It's adversity. At the end of the day, it's sports adversity. You're trying to carve out your spot. You're already kind of seen as stock diminished, right? Because you were supposed to be a high pick and you end up going in the 5th round. I think that he's probably forged a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to see this as a chance to really come out and have a good performance. And where does it go from there? I don't know. But he seems like he has the right mindset to go out and take advantage of what should be a very good opportunity for him to announce his presence to his own organization and to the NFL world.
Here's what is weird. I stumbled upon a clip the other day, and it was very odd that it just came up, right? You go through your reels or whatever, right? And it was Colin Cowherd, and it wasn't a this year clip. It was a last year clip. And he said that he personally spoke to 2 general managers in the NFL. And they said they didn't think much of him when he was at Jackson State. But after his first year at Colorado, they were enamored with Shedeur Sanders. And they said he was definitely a first-round pick. These are real general managers in the NFL the year before he came out. So I do not want to hear that he does not have the talent because you watched him live and in person. If you don't like him, it's fine. But don't sit here and say the kid doesn't have the skill set, because he does. Because you said it. Your job. You said that he has the skill set. You said it the year before. So now what? Well, all of a sudden you were wrong. He lost the arm. Maybe you just didn't like his personality, and I get that. But to say that he's a fifth round pick for a reason. Yeah, he's a fifth round pick because that's where he got picked. It doesn't necessarily mean you got it right. And by the way, the year before, two guys for which Colin Cowherd knows pretty well was like, yeah, the kid is a first round talent. There might be a but at the end of that sentence. There could be. But let's not sit here and pretend like he ain't got it. I think, to be quite honest, his ceiling, they talk about ceilings and floors and all this other stuff. I think his ceiling could be like your guy in Philly. I think he's got Jalen Hurts qualities. He's a lot bigger below the waist, kind of like Hurts is, than people want to believe. And although he's listed at like 6'2"-ish, it's like a tall 6'2"-ish. The kid's got a little bit to him. And if you ever watch somebody try to tackle him around the waist, like on his highlights, they can't. He's dad from waist down. I don't know how strong the arm is, but I also know that Chad Pennington didn't have a howitzer.
I also can't speak to how strong the arm is, and I guess we're gonna get like a real look at that hopefully this week. But I just think that there is a chance that athletically, I think that he has the right sort of mental makeup, and I kind of I liked hearing from him that he's looking to carve out his own path without his dad, right? I kind of like to hear, like, I don't need my dad to be around right now. I'm working on me. So I've always thought that he had the right mindset. I never, I'm not personally the biggest believer in his top end ability and talent, but I always think that he had a good head on his shoulders, especially somebody who's going to be in the spotlight when your last name is attached to one of the most famous football athletes ever, right? So, it's the same thing as Arch Manning. Arch Manning can never be, can't be too good is not good enough when Manning is on your back. So, you have to have thick skin. You have to be willing to work through adversity and ups and downs. And there's probably going to be more downs than ups, simply because of the circus that follows you due to your last name, due to the people that you're associated with. So I think that he handles that part well. I don't know what he's going to end up being as a quarterback, but I'm excited to see how he undertakes, this first test here and where it ends up in his rookie year, where he ends up on the depth chart, where he fits into games.
Long division, chemistry, and spelling bees. I don't want him in. I don't think he's a brilliant guy. I don't think he's the smartest guy. I don't think he's perfect in front of the podium. I don't think he's magical that way. But what I do think he does naturally is shed tacklers. And I think he's going to need to build a little bit of confidence in doing that at the pro level, right? But he can just kind of shed tacklers. And if he can shed tacklers, I don't know if you ever noticed, but his eyes always stay upfield because he never thinks you're taking him down. And if he can get in that mindset, I've seen him rework pockets, which is, by the way, something that Caleb Williams cannot do. I will go out on the line right now. Caleb Williams would rather leave a pocket than remake it. He's not comfortable doing that. And I've seen Shedeur do that. I've seen him keep his eyes above the field. I've seen him throw guys and shrug guys off him. Once he gets the confidence that he can do that at this level, he will be dangerous. They will be dangerous because that's the one thing, or all of those things, should I say, that Cam Ward doesn't do. Cam Ward sat in 7 to 8 second pockets, sat back there and threw the ball whenever he wanted. And I'm telling you, when you got killers coming after you, like Micah Parsons once he signed somewhere, and the Watts and the Garrett's and all these other players. Once you got killers coming after you, they don't wait 7 seconds, 8 seconds. That doesn't happen. The Carters, right? That doesn't happen. Right. Wham, and you're there, and you're on your back, and you sit there and go, wow, geez, I better figure this out better. So I'm excited to see Shedeur Sanders. I'm really interested in this. Have you watched the Matt Stafford story?
Yeah, it's getting a little bit more eerie by the day.
What did I say?
What did you say?
About those, I said, he was sitting out of practice because of soreness, his back soreness. And the story the next day was some reporter asked Davante Adams. She said, hey, how's your relationship with Jimmy Garoppolo since your days in Vegas? Have you repaired your relationship? My ears went up. I went, whoa, well, why are we asking a backup quarterback about his relationship with a starting wide receiver? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Not at all. Unless she had a little bit extra information on Stafford, and Garoppolo is going to start. And I believe it's my belief 100% right now. I believe that you're going to see the same amount of games out of Stafford as you will Garoppolo. What do you think about that?
Wow.
Brother, I come with them. I'm telling you.
I could totally see it because, where, the less answers that you get, the worse and worse you have to feel. And I know that these guys are media trained and conditioned to kind of give you whole nothing burgers when it comes to guys' health. But, the reporters and the beat writers and the people who are observing every day aren't dumb, right? They can see when a guy isn't practicing. They can see what's going on and formulate their own opinions, their own educated guesses on it. And those can all be shot down. But you know what? All negative opinions about anybody within organizations get shot down in some sense or another to save face in some sense or another. So at the end of the day, the less and less that we know about Stafford is the worse and worse that it can possibly get for the Rams. One of maybe 3 or 4 teams that could actually come out of the NFC this year. If you don't have your quarterback, what are you? You know what I mean? So, and it's not just not having your quarterback. It's having one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. It's having a Super Bowl champion. It's having the guy that put McVay's scheme over the top. Jimmy Garoppolo and whatever backup isn't going to get it done. They might still win 8 or 9 games because of how good the defense profiles to be and because McVay's an awesome coach. But without Stafford, you can write the Rams off, and the entire NFC is going to feel a little bit better, one team better about their position, right? So at that point, it's scary hours for the Rams and Rams fans because we truly have nothing to go off of here.
Look, here's what I'm going to go off of, right? I'm going to go off. Stafford said he had a sore back. Okay, sat out a couple practices. Today, Stafford has injection to help back. He got a cortisone shot. But brother, you're 39. You haven't been hit in practice. You've thrown probably 1 million balls over your lifetime, and now your back's starting to creak. That's very interesting. We're also talking about the same coach that gave us zero information on Todd Gurley until I found out that he had a degenerative knee issue, which means his knee that he hurt and had ACL injuries on became arthritic, which is why he could not play every week, which is why at the end of the contract, they shoved the last $8 million off on the Atlanta Falcons so that he can go home and play for a year. That's the McVay we're talking about. So when he doesn't answer health questions, and now we get injections, and now we have a reporter asking about the relationship with Davante Adams and Jimmy Garoppolo, oh my God. My radar is so up on the Rams right now. It's up, man. I'm telling you. Because I do think they will stumble to 9 or 10 wins, because McVay is fantastic. But I made this argument earlier, and I'll show you. I got this card. It's a good looking one. I made this argument earlier. If you were McVay, would you go out and try to put on your payroll a guy that just had shoulder surgery and he's not going to play this year? But I'll tell you what, cannon of an arm. Would you go out and get Will Levis? Fireworks. I'm telling you, Will Levis is a lot about what McVay likes. He likes a gunner. He brought in Mayfield. He believes in himself. He will give Levis a line and easy answers. Levis is not going to demand a lot of money. McVay can pay whoever he wants, but he has to understand Stafford's coming to an end much sooner than he wants him to. And Garoppolo ain't the dude. But Levis will come in. And let's be honest, he lost DeAndre Hopkins and threw 8 straight touchdowns to a wide receiver that had 3 different names. So he made another wide receiver once Hopkins was out of town. But I'm telling you, this dude, cannon. And I think if you make the move and get him for nothing, why not?
Will Levis can really, really throw the ball. He's got a very strong arm, but I think, some of his low IQ moments are kind of feel like the ones that you can't really be coached out of. Now, McVay can spoon feed him and put him in really good positions to succeed. I'm not sure if that would be the next guy to kind of usher in the next era of the Rams, and at least the next, successful, borderline dominant, going for championships level of or version of the Rams.
Well,
simply because I don't think that he's going to be able to outplay those really, really poor moments that have kind of plagued his entire, viewing career from college to the NFL.
let's look at the division, though. Look, we can do that, right? I mean, let's look at the division they're in. He's got more talent than Brock Purdy. I don't know what Brock Purdy is nice, but he's got more talent than Brock Purdy, right?
Yeah.
More talent than Sam Darnold. Right?
Yep.
And Kyler Murray is this big. That's what he looks like when he plays football. That's Kyler Murray, in case you guys are wondering, wearing a Packers uniform. That's Kyler Murray. So my whole thing is, what? It's not? Is he bigger than that?
He's wearing a Packers uniform. That's what got me.
Whatever. But he's a mini man. And I just think that if you brought Levis over in that situation and you bring him over now, offer the Titans whatever. They don't care. Their future's in Cam Ward, and that's going to go down the chute anyway because I've already scouted him. Right? You move Levis over, you get him for nothing because he has shoulder surgery, and they go, yeah, here, whatever, take the bad car. You rework the engine, you give him easy answers. You give him Nakua, you give him Adams. By the way, 4 of his interceptions last year that went for pick sixes was because DeAndre Hopkins didn't finish running his route. DeAndre Hopkins ran a lazy 7 out and stopped at the eye. Like he just kind of curled and never finished the route. Levis threw it to the spot, pick 6. That's why they ended up getting rid of Hopkins and they moved him to Kansas City. And Reed went, what do you like to do? And he goes, I like to go long. He goes, all right, we'll send you long and maybe he'll throw you the ball sometimes. See you later, DeAndre. We won't run any plays for you. That's what Reed did. It was him salvaging a little bit of Hopkins, but I don't think Kansas City brought him back either, did they? No, because that's what DeAndre had become. He had become a pony who only wanted to play one trick. But anyway, that's just a thought of mine. I think that the Rams are going to have to make a decision. They will be good enough this season to not be able to get any number 1 talent next year in the draft. So now what? Now you got to start looking at the wall going, all right, there's 5 guys. What's my best opportunity on the wall to turn one into something special? And you know as well as I do, Levis has 80 yards in the arm.
That is an awesome thought. I think to your point, he kind of just fits the makeup of what Shanahan is looking for. But that would be fun to see. But I think Shanahan. I think the best version of Shanahan's offense is kind of like where it is now with Brock Purdy. Maybe not. I'm not saying like Brock Purdy's the perfect person to run it, but somebody who can kind of just like isn't otherworldly talented and isn't going to rely on otherworldly talents above all else, above the coaching, above the scheme that he's in. Essentially, Kyle Shanahan wants a yes man quarterback, and that's what he has. And Brock Purdy's not a bad quarterback; he's just not a great one. And Kyle Shanahan's offense operates best with not great quarterbacks, oddly enough.
Yeah, but McVay is a little bit different. McVay's more Gruden than Shanahan. McVay wants some juice. That's how he is. He
Yeah,
wants.
I totally messed that up and started talking about the Niners. That's on
No,
me.
you didn't.
But,
No, you didn't. It was a perfect example because you're right. Shanahan wants a guy to show up when he wants him to show up and take whatever on the chin and all this other stuff. McVay wants the back and forth argument a little bit. I think Stafford gives him just enough of it, and he can get by with Garoppolo because he knows the system. But McVay wanted to move on from Stafford with Mayfield. Mayfield just wanted his own shot again.
Right.
Which is fine. They both kind of got a little bit of the same thing, but McVay would have been happy to have Mayfield back. To me, Levis is a little bit like Baker. He will take chances with the ball. If you can get that percentage to come back, you get the fire, you get the explosiveness, and you know as well as I do, if you can't scare a defense, what are we doing here? Because you could dump off. If Purdy can't get the ball out there 55 yards to a guy and he's gone, then what are we doing? I mean, you have to be able to scare somebody sometime. And I think Levis just sitting there on sometimes he'll sit there on the 50-yard line and he'll go, well, it looks like there's only 3 seconds left here. They'll probably just, oh my God, Will's taking a shot. Like, that's what he provides. There's a little bit of Brett Favre in that arm. I'm not comparing him to all these guys, but I am saying that there is a spark. There is a little bit. There's a reason why they put him on the same card that they made for Josh Allen, which is a fireworks card. Levis is a little interesting at this point for a team that's going to have to move on from a starter much quicker than what they think. I don't think that they thought Stafford's back was going to start to get creaky.
No, I think, I think that definitely makes more sense. And I kind of think, just like given the athletic profile, given the strength profile, he would definitely work in the Rams infrastructure, but he would absolutely need to tone back on the improv. You know what I mean?
That's why I want him here now. That's why I want to trade for him now. Trade a 5th-round pick, a 4th-round pick. Trade for him now. Garoppolo will not be the answer. Trade for Levis now. He's in a shoulder sling anyway. He can't throw, right? So he can't do anything. He just got surgery on his shoulder. He made the Titans pay for it, which is brilliant. His agent probably told him to do that, right? And now you move him over here. He's got a year to study and hang out on the sideline. That kid wants to play. He's a gym rat. This is all good stuff. It's exactly what McVay looks up for.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
Anyway, that was my little bit of thought there. And then last but not least, Joe Mixon's out for some time. I'm really excited. Maybe you're not, but I am excited to see Nick Chubb. I just, it broke my heart to see him go out like he went out. I'm excited to see Nick Chubb this season at any level.
I'm excited to see Nick Chubb back for a long time. I'm not sure if he was like underrated just simply because he's one of the top 3 picks in fantasy every single year when he was healthy, and he was just chugging along for a bazillion yards. But he was certainly one of the more underappreciated players great players of his era. And that injury, really, it almost feels like he wasn't given the due respect that he deserved after the injury, simply because maybe he plays in Cleveland, maybe just he's a quieter, not a rah-rah guy, but consistently he was just bowling ball people over. He was an amazing running back for a lot of years. It felt like for 5 years there, he was just, putting up 120 yards and a touchdown or 2 a game. So that was the type of player he was. I hope that we get to see, any resemblance of that again in Houston. And speaking of Houston, I'm gonna say a quick little hope you get better to my guy Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who went down with a serious injury today in practice. Listen, I was all for the Eagles moving off of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson both times that they did it. It doesn't mean that he wasn't an integral part of a team that made a Super Bowl and another team that won a Super Bowl. So he'll always have a special place here, and I hope he gets better soon.
I hope so too. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a huge part. I didn't think you know this. Huge part of the community down here in Florida. He's from this area. He's from the Merritt Island, Cocoa, Melbourne area.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like his mom still does charitable events and stuff like that down here. His dad still is a big part of the community. So, I always kind of rooted for him. I thought he was a fun player. And I like the fact, we're like, oh, he's a little loud. I like the fact that he gets that jaw moving and stuff after every play. That dude's exciting to watch. Getting back to the Nick Chubb thing, I talked to a bar patron the one day, and sometimes you get, interesting people in, and they live next door to Nick Chubb. And I was like, oh my God, what's that like? What's it like living next to Nick Chubb? And they're like, he's the quietest guy in Cleveland. And I go, well, I go, how quiet? They go, he's lived there for 3 years. I said, okay. And they said he was a little loud, like his garbage can rattled a little bit as he took it out to the sidewalk, like one of the 5 times we ever saw him there. And he looked at us, he said, sorry for the noise. The dude says nothing. He's quiet. He doesn't want you to know that he's there. He's polite. He's barely seen, barely heard. Nick Chubb, I hope he comes back and maybe he'll get another contract somewhere. I don't know. I think he's going to look. I wonder if his talent as a running back, like what if they can do a real split here. They can have Mixon catch the passes and Chubb do the running. I mean, really, Mixon's better in the open field and Chubb's better getting to the open field. Chubb will get to the open field by sticking those thighs into a linebacker, and then what? And I also want to say this, being in Houston, all right, Houston's got a tremendous defense. These running backs are going to make that defense even better because they're constantly running against them. They're constantly trying to plug holes. Like that offense playing a good defense, people underestimate what that does. Oh, speaking of defenses, Ryan Clark was in Pittsburgh Steelers camp the other day, and he goes, look, I know what I said. He goes, but I'm out here right now, and Aaron Rodgers can still spin it. He goes, I have no idea. He goes, but that dude just threw one by somebody's ear hole, and I heard it. And he goes, I can't. He goes, what is he, 40 years old? He goes, that ball was spinning, baby. So, I mean, the Ryan Clark will tell you or not tell you either way. And he said, he goes, man, he goes, I don't know. I don't know what that shoulder has in it. He goes, but I can hear it. And if you can hear it, you still got it. And he said, Aaron Rodgers still does have it.
Very good to know. Hey, Aaron Rodgers, before Josh Allen took him over, my favorite football player of all time. So, I'm all for a good Aaron Rodgers on the football field content. I still think that, he's not as good as he once was, but he could be as good once as he ever was. And I'll be waiting for the day to see that he's spinning it out there. Of course, until Will Howard gets back from injury and takes over and becomes the future of the Steelers.
Oh, he can't play for a while.
He'll get there.
Broke his finger.
Yeah, he'll get there. He's fine.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Just saving the delay. Saving the delay of greatness for Will Howard and putting Downingtown, Pennsylvania on the map.
Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Listen, man, I like Will Howard. I think he's going to be great. And like I said, I've got Pennsylvania written on the map this year because and in fact, dude, I believe in him so much. I believe in Penn State so much this year. I swear to God, and I'll show it to you when I get it. I bought a Drew Aller card last night, rookie card.
Really?
Yeah, Bowman's first rookie card. The guy didn't know. I was in this app. I was in the Whatnot app, and I was just buying. I was there to buy cards, and this guy kept calling him Drew Aller.
Aller.
He didn't even know how to say the guy's name, and I was like, wait, let me look. Is that Aller? He's gonna be in the Heisman Trophy competition. That's a Bowman's first rookie. Give me that card. I bought it. So.
Drew Aller, baby.
Drew Aller. What's he, French or Polish? I don't even know what nationality an Aller would be.
But I kind of like it, though.
I don't know. He said the name wrong, so nobody got... No, I loved it. He said the name's wrong, so nobody knew who it was. And I scalped it. So, anyway.
Now you're going to be rich.
That's all I got. You got anything else?
Hey, no, I don't. I'm getting ready for a great football season. Next time I come on with you, it'll probably be, the Thursday before opening Thursday in the Eagles versus Cowboys. So we'll have some stuff to talk about, and it's been fun coming on this past couple months. I'm taking these next 3 weeks off, but big times, exciting times. Football's back. Big life events are happening, and
hey man, it's awesome. You got a wedding coming up. What kind of band are you going with? Are you going with black? Are you going with gold? Are you going with silver? What are you going with? Real quick before we go.
My band is more. It's like a charcoaly black color with a gold trim.
Okay, all right, that's great. That's classy, right? That's
yeah. It's muted. It's not it's not too stick out. It's about as Liam ring as it can be.
well. I mean, look at man. I what did I do one night? Oh, this was bad. You know the pour spouts. I'll tell my story on the pour spouts on the for bar. Bar drinks. Anyway, I used to have a metal ring. I caught it on it, and I couldn't get it, and I couldn't move it, and almost ripped my finger right off. And I went, so I have gone to the rubberized because, well, it's almost like a mechanic's ring, right? They can't lose their finger in an alternator if this thing eventually rips off, and I can't lose it on one of those tops, those metal tops, if it starts ripping at it, if I don't have the opportunity to do so. So that's kind of how I went over time, but I went with black as well.
Well, I'm glad great minds think alike there, and yeah, it'll be a good time. I'll be sure to send you pictures, and I'll see you in a month.
All right, man. I'll see you in a month. Send me pictures. I can't wait to see how everything turns out. As you know, I do wedding DJ work down here as well. And we will keep an eye on the Rams, and we will at least chat about the Shedeur Sanders start, and hopefully Nick Chubb does well. Congratulations before we get out of here on your marriage, on the Eagles champion. I mean, what a great, you're hitting a stride. Eagles championship, followed by marriage, followed by the beginning of the NFL season. Nice comments below for Liam. Everyone that has watched this podcast, wish him well on his wedding day. I'll see you in 3 weeks. Fantasy Farm Sports. If you guys haven't subscribed, I can't make you any money this season. He'll make money. The other people that have subscribed will make money. And you'll be sitting on the sidelines wondering where your money is. And don't expect me to buy you a drink. I told you what to do. Guys, I will see you on Sunday. Me and Greg will be back on here giving you more advice, because you know what? We're just nice guys at Fantasy Farm Sports. Enjoy the rest of your day.